Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 52 of A Wild Podcast Has Appeared, the official Pokemon podcast of comicbook.com. I am one of your hosts, Jim Viscardi, and today I am joined by Christian Hoffer and a blank square. That's right. Megan Peters is not with us today. She is enjoying some much-needed time off, so you just get the two pessimists this week.
She is enjoying a staycation. Luckily, I got my Megan fix earlier this week due to our ongoing D&D campaign.
That's true.
But Jim, on the other hand, will have to just suffer through 45 minutes of me yelling at him for every single opinion he has. When I realized Megan wasn't going to be on the podcast tonight, I almost got my boxing gloves out.
That's it. There's no referee. It's just This is a last man standing match, and we're just gonna go.
Did you happen to see the subject of this week's PokeFact of the week, by the way?
I did, and I cannot believe Megan is not here for it. Cannot believe it. Of course. If you're new to this show, welcome. You have found one of the best Pokemon podcasts you could find. At least that's our humble opinion, obviously. We try and cover a wide array of stuff. We cover the news of the week in the first part of our show. We take a quick break. We come back and we do a deep dive, which is more of a longer conversation on some of the big news and things like that, over the week or so. And then Christian gives us a Pokemon fact of the week. There are usually some tangents. They're generally a good time, and generally, I think is fair.
That's yeah.
Sometimes they're a little uncomfortable, but more often than not, it's a fun time. So I guess we'll just jump right into it. Not a lot of news this week, but some good stuff. I guess we can start with the thing that we literally just happened as we recorded the show. Poppy, the troll, has put out a new song that is her covering the fabled classic, the Pokemon theme song.
Yes. If you do not know who Poppy is, one, you're in for an experience. I think that's the best way of describing Poppy. She is a YouTuber turned music star, and she basically did this very bizarre slow burn where she and her producer would release these just totally bizarre videos.
Yep.
Some of the weirdest stuff you've ever seen, and they leveraged that fame because people are like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
And she became an actual pretty banging music star. Her songs are actually good.
They really are. She is from a musician comparison standpoint, to me, feels like a harder edged Sia in a way, where she she's a little quirky like that, but her music I listened to a bunch of it before the show. Is a bit darker, a bit harder, but also she's got a ton of light fluffy stuff.
Yeah.
But the pop culture kind of comparison I made earlier to Christian was, it's basically Luna Lovegood from the Harry Potter franchise if she was a YouTube musician.
Yeah. No, that's incredibly accurate.
But the Pokemon theme that she does is great. I wish it was longer. I wish it was the full song.
It was one of the better covers that I have heard of the song. And let's face it, if you do covers on YouTube, you have covered the Pokemon song at some point. Literally everybody does it. At this point, it's basically you're not a real cover artist unless you've sang the Pokemon song either earnestly or as some sort of ironic commentary on nostalgia and childhood.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the two, and hers is top 5, maybe top 3, maybe top 1.
It's very good.
It's so good.
My only complaint is that it is not the full song. It's
Yeah.
only basically the anime
Yeah.
intro.
Yeah. And the video is her as a Pokemon card, and it slowly zooms in, and some of the stuff that like pops up. I'm gonna try to throw it up here really quick if I can find it without screwing up my video and or my stuff. I can't talk because I'm focusing on Poppy. Which really is how it should be.
Right.
I can't get it to load. But anyways, it's like got something like like Poppy, your like her attack on the Pokemon card says like now you're bleeding out of your eyes. It's like and like one thing is it's like like the description is like there is only one Poppy, and she's has the ability to see through your well, I can't say that word on this podcast.
Yep.
But it's great. Like take the 90 seconds,
Yeah.
watch Pokemon times Poppy, and then discover Poppy, because it's one of those things where it's like that's strange little corner of the internet.
So that's that. So go check it out. It's a lot of fun, and you'll thank us for it for sure. Like I listened to it a few times because it's very good. Last week we kind of talked a little bit about this, but it looks like the Pokemon Company has taken it up a notch with some newer releases. Massive Gigantamax plushes, like almost not life size, but they're obviously not life size because they'd be 12 stories in real life, but they are much bigger than your average plush. Like the Meowth one is like 4 feet tall.
It's 5 feet tall.
5 feet tall.
It's legitimately body pillow size. The picture that they released of it shows the Meowth in like a twin size bed, taking up the entire bed.
It's huge.
It's massive, and it still has the Gigantamax clouds like rotating around its like it's long midsection. But yeah, it's 5 feet. It's 5 feet long, and so this is like the second like mammoth Pokemon plush that we've gotten like this. So if you also bought the $300 Furret for whatever reason, because that was like a legitimately, it's like, ah, yes, we have created this life-size Furret. It's 5 foot, also like 5 foot long, so you can like like get a Pokemon hug this way. And the Pikachu is a big chunk too. Yeah. Like it's 10 pounds.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I hope this comes stateside, because that Pokemon one, the Pikachu one is pretty awesome.
It's kind of amazing that it won't come stateside because these things are getting custom made. Yeah. So they opened up pre-orders over in Japan, and they're only making them to order. So it's like if you don't pre-order it, it's never getting made. Because I mean, when you make a 10-pound plush, I mean, that is the size of a toddler. I mean,
it's the price tag on the Pikachu is about $400.
Yeah, it's nuts. Just absolutely wild.
Someone is spending $400 on a super Gigantamax Pikachu plush,
and they're not going to regret their decision whatsoever. I mean, that is
it just reminds me like when the Snorlax beanbag things came out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously this is not as big as that, but I'm all for the oversized Pokemon plush.
Yeah, those the people who buy these are going to make some really great like videos and memes here. I mean, it's almost worth it for the sheer amount of content production that's going to come out of these things come like October or November. Like, if you are a like Pokemon video maker, like, buy one now and just get ready to go hog wild here in November.
Yeah.
I could like totally freak out my kid with that Meowth. Like stick that thing in his bed and just totally make him just lose his mind.
So moving on.
Okay.
Some Pokemon Go news this week.
Yes.
the Pokemon Go Battle League Season 2 has been a little bit delayed.
It has unfortunately been delayed. I've been like waiting for season 2 to start up for like I feel like 2 weeks since we first wrote about it. I don't know how long it's actually been because of the very nature of quarantine means that, you know, time blends into each other. I'm not sure if it's night or day right now, what day it actually is, you know, but apparently they had to push it back a week. They didn't really explain why, or maybe I just missed it. But yeah, like
they didn't. They just said that something came up, we have to do it.
Yeah, so there are going to be a few like changes to season 2, like the season 2 format. For one thing, the leagues are going to be longer now. You're going to have access to a new competition called the Premium Cup, which is basically no CP limit, but also no mythicals or legendaries like involved, which I think is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
More guaranteed rewards when you hit like ranks, so like more encounters with certain Pokemon, which is nice. I'm trying to think what were some of the other changes that were made to it. I think they are trying, because we actually ran an interview with them when this whole thing was like started, when this whole thing started, and they straight up said like, yeah, we're trying to like really like figure out like what the core gameplay is for Go Battle League before we start like changing stuff up. So I think that getting a brand new Premium Cup, like basically a whole new format to play, should keep people who like the Go Battle League interested. Me, I just want to keep on using my same Great League team and just go ham. So, yeah, so that'll be fun. Like it's gonna be, it's gonna be a good couple of months. It's going to be a longer league, so it's like runs from like whenever it eventually starts to mid-July or so. But yeah, it'll be nice.
So I have I don't know if it's a confession or what, but I started playing Animal Crossing and maybe played it for 3 days before I was completely overwhelmed by the fact that like it take me a while to like get a good island, but then like everyone else's islands already started looking better than mine, and I was like, okay, screw it, whatever. And then you start seeing stuff like this. Someone has created the entire Sinnoh map in Animal Crossing.
Shockingly accurate too. It's insane.
It's absolutely insane. And like, it's like this is the reason why I don't play Animal Crossing, because I will never be able to do something like this.
All right, first and foremost, Jim, your description of your thoughts on Animal Crossing mimics your description of like 95% of video games. I swear to God, like every time you get into a new video game, it's like, oh yeah, I really like it. Let's do this. We should cover this. Boom, boom, boom. Like you're like all in, and then 2 days later, oh yeah, I dropped it. I got bored. And this isn't even me exaggerating, people. Like you can go back into the past and listen to Jim do this in real time on some of our past podcasts.
Yeah, but those games have been trash.
Yeah, Animal Crossing is not trash. Animal Crossing.
Right, but the other games.
Oh, I'm not denying that. Pokemon Master sucked. So what this guy did, there's apparently a map maker that you can go and like basically lay out a format for your island. So you can see exactly what you need to do to make your island look a certain way. Because I've kind of like wondered, like how the hell, like I've seen people who like recreated the Animal Crossing leaf as a lake. I was like, how can you do that? Like how can you like do that? Because it's not exactly an easy process to like terraform in Animal Crossing. Like you can do it, but you got to shovel, and you can't do like a top-down view. So
Yep.
you only like realize it when
You
the
have
map.
that weird side view.
Yeah, like it's fixed and
Yeah.
but so he used a map maker and like he moved all the residents' houses to different like where the cities were. And then to top it off, this person, I say it's a he based on they are a he based on the fact that, you know, they use a male avatar in Animal Crossing. But what they then did was they made custom clothing and you know, try to style, you know, give residents, you know, like his neighbors or their neighbors um clothing based on the gyms, like the gym leaders for the different based on where they lived. And it's like, you know, not only like the Sinnoh region has islands, they
Yep.
recreated like islands on the edge of the map too,
Hmm.
like basically using like it's got these like huge swaths of oceans, and they did a lake. Now, while this map looks cool, totally unusable in Animal Crossing. Like that's, you know, so when you say that, like they in like the Reddit posts about this, the user like talked about it's like, yeah, it's all cliffs. It sucks. Like I actually hate this island. I can't do anything with it. So I was like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
But like,
Yeah.
I mean, it has all the routes, and like, it's
They
just an unbelievable display
like
of.
that they use the museum as the temple.
Yeah.
Like nooks, like, you know, like different they actually like thought it out too, like, you know, I forget which city has the department store in the Sinnoh region, but they put the Able Sisters shop to represent it. It's like I just saw it's like, oh man, this is really clever. I would not have thought in a million years to go, it's like, let's go and turn my Animal Crossing island into a Pokemon region.
Yep.
Like, that is just clever. It's just really freaking clever.
The other one I saw that was just an A plus was someone recreated Disney's Haunted Mansion in Animal Crossing, like so much so like they even recreated like the line into the ride,
That's amazing.
which is just blows my mind.
I mean, I love Animal Crossing. I play it every day. Since I got it. You know, but like I do not have even an ounce of like this like level of creativity. Like maybe it's because I've never played an Animal Crossing game before this.
Mm.
You know, like I just don't like go. It's like, yep, I'm gonna go and do Haunted Mansion. Like I saw like on day 2, someone's like, yeah, I turned my house into Castlevania. Like, you know, I sit in Dracula's castle now. It's like, what the heck? It's like I can't even get this stuff. Like that's the thing that like drives me nuts. Like you only get like access to like 5 items per day. It's like, where are all these like themed items coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I have like the Gothic mirror. I don't have any of the other witches stuff, and I probably never will. And like I said, I've been playing it for every day for like almost 2 months. It's just, I mean, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed by these people. Like, have you seen like the cityscapes?
Yeah.
Where they turn them into like you know, like basically like dense urban centers. It's like,
Yeah.
I can.
Well, I've seen a bunch of people like with their shirt designs. Like I've seen a bunch of great, cool Pokemon shirt designs.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen a number of like even just like some Power Ranger stuff that you know that has just made me be like, okay, maybe I'll play for a little bit more. But
I do have my island flag as surprised Pikachu. So I will say that I did splurge and found somebody who had a good surprise Pikachu, and so I used that as my I use that as my flag and my like little Animal Crossing, because you know you can do a custom tune. Mine is definitely from Legend of Zelda, which, you know, it took my wife like 4 or 5 days to realize. And like, you know, like because she is like the world's biggest Zelda fan. Like I like Zelda a lot. Like, you know, don't get me wrong, like I love Zelda, but she is like a Zelda fanatic. Like, you know, get the games when they come out day 1, play through it, like not sleep until they're over sort of fanatic. And so the slow realizations, like Tommy Nook's like theme song sounds a little familiar, and like she just started cracking up because I think it was like the Dodo Island,
No.
like because it like sounds like a kazoo, and it's just like amazing. Anyways, I love Animal Crossing. I have no qualms. We could talk about Animal Crossing all day if Jim would let me.
Nope, not going to happen. So what we are going to do, though, is we'll take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the new trading card game set. So stay tuned. All right. Rebel Clash is the newest trading card game set that is out. We had an unboxing planned for the site. I kind of went through the set that we got here at the site. So we'll talk through some of the cards. We'll talk through some of the more expensive cards, the cards that people are going through, and we'll talk about some of the stuff that's coming up. The weird thing about this set is the aftermarket on certain cards is much lower
It's bad
than sets in the past. And I think, it, and you've got it here in the notes, it's probably because
but
no one's playing. There's no events.
Yeah. There's no events. Worlds has been canceled. All competitive play has been canceled. And there's like some legitimately good cards in here.
Yeah.
That's like the worst, like kind of like the disappointing thing. It's like this is actually, would be there's going to be some really good decks to come out like that incorporate some of these cards. But like, there's one card that the market price is above $30. That's how bad. Like, usually there's like 10 cards. That's like,
and usually at a set launch, there's usually one that's like $90 easy.
Yeah.
Not so much this time around. So I think the one you're talking about is the Giovanni card, Boss's Order.
Yeah. Did you get one of those?
That's no, I didn't. But that's the secret rare, right? The one that's
$30? So the secret rare is 34, and the full art is 30. So those are the only ones that are even remotely above $30. Like those are it. That's it. It's literally Boss's Order. It is a good card because it allows you to switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. So the reason why it's going expensive is it's the rare version of those cards, and it's a really good supporter card because you can basically go in for the kill. It's great. It's a really solid.
So some of the cards I got, I'm going to hold them up to the camera, is the full art Oleana, everyone's favorite crazy assistant in the world of Galar.
She looks like she wants to step on you, Jim.
The secret rare that I got in this set was a Rillaboom VMAX card.
Oh, that's great.
Which is a very, very cool one. But this one I only think is going for like $10.
Yeah, no, but it still looks awesome.
Yeah, but like it's got 330 HP.
Mm-hmm.
Its big power is max beating, which does 130 damage or more, depending on the number of energy cards you discard. So it's not a bad card by any stretch. Like I said, it's a cool looking card as well. And then some of the other V cards I got, Rillaboom was the only VMAX card I got. Some of the other V cards I got was the full art Toxtricity V card, which is very, very cool looking. I love what they have done with the new foils.
Yeah.
The new foils on this set have been great. Inteleon is another cool one. It's not a bad card. 200 HP. It does a move that deals 130 damage. Its VMAX move is a Snipe Shot. Does a pretty good amount of stuff. Like I said, like they're not bad. They're just they all seem to be pretty common. Phalanx, who I never thought would kind of get a big card, is pretty cool. Let's see what else. I got a Pincherturchin.
Pin urchin. It's
Pinurchin.
it's literally pin
It's
with her.
Pincurchin.
Yeah, like pin cushion.
Pincurchin.
Only
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I see
Yeah,
what.
Pincurchin. Oh, I lied. I did get another VMAX card. Full art normal Cooper Aja.
Copper Raja.
Whatever.
Cooper it has two O's.
I
Copper
got.
has.
I'm just gonna. I'm not even gonna listen to you right now. I got another. I got another Rillaboom, the regular V card, which is okay, and then I got a double, which like
Double's actually going to be a good card in this. That's going to be one of the good
oh
cards.
sure, its ability. Its ability, soft wool. This Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks after applying weakness and resistance. Like it's got 210 HP. So if it's taken 30 less damage, thanks to its wool, it means it'll probably last another round or two, depending on.
Well, and it's the attack. It
Yeah,
does
Revenge
30.
Blast does
Yeah,
120. And it
plus
does 30
30.
more damage. Yeah, it does 30 more damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. So that's.
I mean, double is the big finisher. So you throw him out after you got after you've taken after like when you're on your like last legs, and suddenly that has a Pokemon that does 270 damage per round, no limitation. It gets stronger the closer you are to defeat. That's that is going to be literally a game changing Pokemon right there.
And then here is I did get the regular hollow boss's order. It's not the fancy one, but it's a little shiny. And then switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with one of their active Pokemon, which is handy to have for sure.
Yeah. So some of the other cool cards that are in the set is Eldegoss V, which the big thing about that is you can bring back supporters once you've played. So every time you throw an Eldegoss V onto your bench, you can pull a supporter from your discard pile into your hand, which that's huge. Because supporter cards tend to be the more powerful trainer cards. And so that allows you to cycle those cards in consistently, the more Eldegoss's you have. Dragapult V is going to be a big one. It looks... have you seen like the full art for it yet?
Yeah, it's a very, very cool one. Like Dragapult's already a very cool looking Pokemon. But this card is awesome.
Yeah, Dragapult V, anytime when on its first turn it gets an extra power, and the VMAX basically it's one of those attacks like Max Phantom. Not only does it damage the active Pokemon, but it also does 50 damage to any one of your basically to your opponent's bench, so you can distribute those out. So that means that you can take out Pokemon on the bench in just a couple of turns, especially if they haven't been like fully set up yet. So you can really mess somebody up. And then Toxtricity is actually going to be really good. There's going to be a lot of decks that are going to be Garbodor and Toxtricity, because Toxtricity VMAX does 240 damage as long as the opponent is poisoned. And so Garbodor, makes it so that Pokemon stay poisoned consistently. So you run those two together and suddenly you're unstoppable. So like I said, there's actually a lot of really good cards, and it's a small set too. I think a lot of people, because some of these past sets have been so freaking huge, like this set only has, I think, 174 cards, which is like a freaking breath of fresh air if you are like tired of struggling to get all of them, if you're like a completionist. But yeah, no, it's a good set, and it just came out. Chances are your local game stores has stock in, because no one's doing much right now. So support your game stores, because they really do need the help. And you can make some great decks for pretty cheap. Like, there's going to be a lot of people like, who are jumping on some of these cards now, while like the costs are pretty low. and we'll be just tearing stuff up next year, like, at Worlds, and we'll see a lot of these in competitive play. I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the set that's coming up next will be Darkness Ablaze.
Yeah. They actually had to change the name of, so how we've talked about this before. But how the trading card game works is these sets come out 3 months before over in Japan, and they have totally different names, and they actually have 2 subsets that come out, and they had to change the name on this on the Japanese set because I think it was called like World Stop or something like that. And they're like, yeah, we can't use that one. World Down. The name was originally called World Down, and they changed it to Infinity Zone because they're like, yeah, we can't use World Down. That's hitting a little too close to home. But it's gonna have Centiskorch and Eternus VMAX. Those are gonna be some of the featured Pokemon. So we'll see exactly what's all in store for it. But if we're getting Eternus VMAX in the Pokemon trading card game, that means that late summer we will likely have a way to get Eternus, the Gigantamax Eternus.
Mm-hmm.
Because, other than the time that you battled him in Pokemon
you
Sword
can't
and
use
Shield,
him.
Can't use it at
I
all.
remember when catching him, and then the first time I wanted to like Gigantamax him, and I was like, what the hell? Why can't I do it? I just saw him do it.
I still, that is definitely the weirdest. There's a lot of weird Gigantamax forms, but that one is up there because it's like, like kind of like half like Eldritch Terror from Beyond, half Claw Machine.
Right, that's okay. Like it looks like Master Hand from Smash Brothers.
That's great. I didn't even think of that until you said that. That's so accurate.
Yeah.
It's like it's like coming from a rift in time and space, and it's like this hand coming out, like totally would be like the bad guy in like in like a cosmic horror or like video game type situation.
Yeah, like to me it's basically it's Master Hand meets Bayonetta.
Yeah, oh god. You're on fire today with some of these references.
I am just making all kinds of connections.
I mean, man, you usually, I kind of expected that since it was just me and you this week that I would just be ripping into you left and right. But you have brought your A game, my friend. Like so far, I have not had too much to beat you up on. I'm actually a little disappointed.
So that was that's what we got coming up on the trading card game front. Be curious to see, the question is now is like, when does this stuff start getting back to normal, and when will we see people out, doing trading card, game tournaments, things like that. And honestly, at this point, I would not be surprised if it's not until next year.
Yeah, I'm kind of, so I'm a big board game fan. I go to the two of the biggest board game shows in the country every year. One's located in my hometown, Origins, and so is national championships is usually here in my hometown. But Origins, they moved to October, and like I'm kind of like eyeing them, like I don't even know if that's gonna happen. And Gen Con, which is the big board game, and when I say board games, I mean tabletop games of all time. Like Pokemon has a huge presence at all this stuff. But yeah, like I don't know if like Gen Con's gonna happen at all, which kind of sucks because I have like a 5-star hotel reservation waiting for me. It's like I kind of want to go, but at the same time, I don't want to get sick and die. It's like choices. Yeah, like I don't know when it's going to come back. Like I know like a lot of board game stores are going to try to start reopening here in the next few weeks. But even then, like they're only allowed to have, the social distancing measures are still supposed to be in place. So unless you're playing the Pokemon card game 6 feet apart from each other, I don't think you can do it. So I don't think organized play is going to come back until 2021 at the earliest. Yeah. Like I just don't think it's going to happen, which sucks. Like I'm I really feel for people who one make their living off of this sort of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's board game stores, or comic book stores too, or just well, I mean, if you've been following comicbook.com, you know what's been going on with the comic industry. We're not going to talk about that here, but like it's rough. It is rough.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why it's it's important while, obviously staying, staying safe and, following any of your, local and national guidelines is obviously very important. But if you have the ability to support your local game store or comic book shop in some form or fashion, it's important that, if you have the means to do so, because we want to make sure that we, these places for a lot of people are you know safe gathering places for a lot of folks, and so
Yeah.
to lose those, really, it prohibits, a lot of folks' ability to remain fans of this stuff, right? Like,
Hmm.
I know there's a lot of people who play the trading card game who do it because they've got a group and a place that they can do it with
Yeah.
on a regular
No.
basis. And so like that goes away, it makes it hard. Like what you can't, if you don't have someone, at home or close to home or in your close circle of friends who's into the Pokemon trading card game, like your desire or your want to go get a new set is just gonna, go straight to the toilet. And then, it's it's weird. But like I said, if you've got the opportunity to support any way you can, um, please try and do so
Now, I do think I will say this: it's probably possible to play the Pokemon trading card game
on Zoom.
on Zoom. Yeah, I think it's would be a little bit frustrating, but
Yeah.
if you angle your camera so that you have your cards in front of you, you can probably do it that way. I mean, because you don't really need to look at somebody's face
No,
when you're
it's true.
playing
You just need to see
Pokemon
their
trading card
cards.
game.
So like if you were to get a webcam, and just have it face down on a mat,
Yeah.
you probably could. That's really only good for one-on-one play. But hey, if you want to do one-on-one play and invite a bunch of people to watch,
Hmm.
there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a solution. I mean, that's the one thing that I really think hurts the Pokemon trading card game is that their online
Yeah.
presence. Like you take a look at like Magic the Gathering arena, and
Mhm.
that thing. I mean, I'm sure maybe I'm just biased because we have like multiple arena players on comicbook.com, but I think like a lot of that gameplay that has really helped revitalize Magic the Gathering,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
like I know a lot of people who are Magic players but don't have anyone to play with because now they are in their 30s. They
Mhm.
are adults and they cannot go to the game store every Friday night to play. But with, Arena, they can just hop on their computer and do it. They don't, Pokemon doesn't have something like that. Like, yeah, they have like they do have the online feature, but it's not very good.
No.
It's not where it should be. Like you compare it to literally any other card game that's out there,
Yeah.
and it's woefully unprepared. And I'll straight up say this, Pokemon Company, if you are listening, if you guys make a like actual playable version of Pokemon the trading card game online, via Steam, like put some money into it, like they've done for Magic the Arena or Hearthstone or Legends of Runeterra, I will straight up commit to like making content for that for like a year.
No, yeah, absolutely. Well, it would
Like,
just make it like I would imagine too, people would stream that kind of like people would stream
oh
it like because right now you can't even do that, right? Like just the online
no,
kind of capabilities that are around the online version of the trading card game. You just you can't do it. Uh,
compare when you are watching the Pokemon, competitive Pokemon play that the Pokemon Company does right now.
yeah,
Compare the video quality and presentation for Sword and Shield to the trading card game. Like on even
Mhm.
back when we were dealing with the potato quality
Yep.
of like, stuff on the 3DS, that still looked better than the cards. Like it just it's not it's really hard to understand what's going on and really enjoy yourself from a casual player unless you know every single card
Yep.
by heart. You cannot like really enjoy it. That they really need to do that. That's got to be the next step because right now Pokemon is still like the number 2 trading card game that's out there.
Well, that's the craziest thing, right? Where like it's still one of the biggest trading card games, yet when you look at its presence online and with the people who play it or whatever, like you'd almost have no clue.
It's because kids buy it. Like
True.
my 9-year-old and 7-year-old neighbors are
Yep.
Pokemon card buyers, and I don't even think they play. Like I'll be honest, because I like.
Oh yeah, there is still a very real collectability aspect, to this. I mean, even when I started with the trading cards, like I was way more collector first, and then figure out how to play the game second. But like I was collecting when I was, in like 6th grade or so, and I don't think I actually started playing the game until maybe 8th grade, and then by that point I was a real freaking nerd.
But you were a very wealthy nerd too, because
That's right.
because you had officially
That's
robbed
right.
every old lady on Long Island.
Yep.
Of their like social
Look,
security.
I had great
checks.
decks because I was able to buy up. I mean, that was it.
Oh man. But yeah, no, it's like, I think that's the big thing. But I think that part of the reason why the card game hasn't, because, let's be real. As 2 30-year-olds
Yep.
who are who run a Pokemon podcast and have for a year, I'm pretty sure that our main, our listener group, our listener base is also 20, 30, 40 and up. We probably don't have a lot of like 7-year-old listeners, but if we do, hi. And sorry for all the curse words.
It's fine. We get them bleeped out. Richard does a solid.
Thank God. But that doesn't translate. Like the Pokemon fan base is aging, but we do not have a way to play the Pokemon card game. Like, for God's sake, give me the freaking Game Boy game again. Like, you know how many hours I put into that freaking game as a kid? I loved that game. I had so many just freaking awesome decks, and I can't do that. Like, they used to do that on, like, they used to come out with Magic cards, that like crappy Magic games that you could download on the Xbox 360. Do that for the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
I want to play the Pokemon card game, but, my 5-year-old is at least 4 years away from playing it. If he'll ever play it at all. By that point in time, I'm going to be, like, nearing 40. I mean, I don't think I could get much uncooler than I am now.
I'm gonna blow your mind for a second and give our listeners and who probably already know this because they're the ones who are listening, but a peek behind the curtain. You would be surprised that almost 40% of our audience is 22 and under.
Are you kidding me?
I wish I was.
Man, I have never felt more in touch with the kids than I do right now.
But now, of course, that's going to change because they have all realized how old we are, and they're all like,
I know.
Oh, crap.
They're like, well, the good news is since I've been shaving my beard during the quarantine, I do look legitimately 10 years younger. So I also now look like, I probably don't look like I'm 22 anymore because I've gotten, I've gained some weight in the last few years. But, I definitely look like I'm in my mid-20s. So how do you do?
It's a good 40. It's like about 40% 22 and under, 40% 23 to 34.
Man, how do you do, fellow kids?
Oh, stop, Christian. Don't scare them away. Jesus, what? Well, now we're going to have to cancel the show because listenership's about to plummet.
I don't even know. Like, I'll be honest. Like, I say this lovingly about us. I mean, Megan brings all the youth factor.
That's true.
Like the two of us, we are crusty old men that are like, out of touch. with what the kids are doing these days. Like Megan's got that all like she's the only reason why I understand like half the things. Like she'll tell me stuff sometimes. I'll be like, oh, so that is why people are doing what they're doing right now.
All right, enough about the two old men talking about Pokemon. Let's get to the Pokemon fact of the week.
So this week is a momentous occasion.
It is.
It is not very often that we have get to do a Pokefact of the week of somebody's favorite Pokemon, a host's favorite Pokemon. But this week we are talking about the Geodude family. It took me a very long time to find something even remotely interesting.
Stop it. It did not. All you had to do was look at the Pokedex entry and be like, oh, okay, easy.
Yeah, well, yeah, for one thing, it's another twofer. The first one is you would have never thought of this in a million years, but apparently this is like established. Golem's shell is hollow.
That took me by surprise. I had no idea.
Yeah, like you'd think that because it's like a 3-ton Pokemon. It's a heavy, hefty fellow. But like there is like one of those early like Pokemon, like not a Pokemon trading card, but a Pokemon trading card, like basically like a baseball card version of one of them established. Like they cut a Golem in half. And I was like, look, there's nothing inside. And it's like, wow, I am amazed. But the other thing, which continuing our theme of Geodudes and Gravelers getting chucked off mountains. So as we know, the Alolan Golem has a literal railgun on its back. It uses a railgun is a type of advanced weaponry that uses magnetism to shoot things at very high speed. And Golem has it on its back. Unfortunately, sometimes it cannot get the needed ammunition to, murder somebody with magnets. So it takes Geodudes and stuffs it in its shell and fires them off. And at first it's like, no, like, Pokemon Company, you've clearly been listening to our podcast because we just talked about this like 4 weeks ago with like Machop doing like his power training by chucking Gravelers off mountains. This is an actual honest to God fact. It railguns Geodudes. That means like it is actively going against its own like survivability. Like it's shooting its children out of a railgun.
Okay, so a few other facts about Golem, because I also, and the Geodude family, because I did look up some of them. Golem also sheds.
Yeah, those shells, which also is kind of weird, right? Because Golem is hollow,
right? But like, so I guess this first showed up in Fire Red, where it says. It's enclosed in a hard shell that is rugged as slabs of rock. It sheds its skin once a year to grow larger. So it's like basically it's like a rock snake. But the crazy thing is, where the heck did I see it? Oh, actually in yellow, once it sheds its skin, its body turns tender and whitish. Its hide hardens when it's exposed to air. Like, what? I know.
What a weird.
But also, there's a number of games. It also says that it's capable of like blowing up.
Yeah, well, it does use explosion.
Well, right. I mean, I know it uses explosion, but like, how is it putting itself back together after that?
It probably doesn't, because it probably doesn't have any evolutionary drive to live. Yeah. Because it knows deep down. That sucks.
The other thing, which I thought was pretty cool in Ultra Sun, the entry is when Golem grows old, they stop shedding their shells. That they have lived a long, long time. Their shells grow green with moss.
Well, yeah, kind of like turtles.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. The other thing is on the Geodude front.
Oh my God, we're just going to keep getting. No, you're just going to start ridding off every Pokemon.
No, this is the last one because this is the thing that like you don't really think about, but like you brought it up when you brought up like the cross sectioning thing, that like these Pokemon have organs, right? Okay, so think about that for a second. These Pokemon have organs, and in Ruby, you learn something about Geodude's heart. The longer a Geodude lives, the more its edges are chipped and worn away, making it more rounded in appearance. However, this Pokemon's heart will remain hard, craggy, and rough, always.
So it's got like a hard tissue heart?
I guess it's just like...
What does that even mean?
Is it beating? Is the heart beating? Like, I don't... What's going on?
I'm pretty sure that means like, like our Golem's going to die from like overexertion. Are they just at risk for like spontaneous heart failure because of their very inflexible hearts? So while you were going and reading off every dumb fact you could find about Golems, I'd learned something interesting. So I looked up, do turtles shed their shells? Because the shells are, we know that turtles can't leave the shells because that's a permanent part of them. While they don't shed the actual shell itself like all at once, the scutes or scutes, scuts, the things that make up the shells, like the little scales, those do shed off. So there is a biological basis for Golem shedding its shell. Those rocks fall off just like a turtle does. So it's not really a rock snake; it's a rock turtle, which we already knew because we have eyes.
And as much as I wish to say that there was something interesting to say about Graveler, there isn't. Other than the fact that it likes to eat a lot of rocks, and its favorite rocks are ones covered in moss. That's about as interesting as it gets.
The most interesting thing about Graveler is the fact that the original Pokemon games got Graveler wrong, and like depicted it as this like weird 4-legged abomination where it looked like it like had 4 arms and was kind of like a spider. That Graveler looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Every Graveler since has looked lame because Graveler is lame.
Stop.
Like,
I like
where does it even get? Like, why does it suddenly have 6 arms? What does it do?
Yeah,
with
I don't understand like how it gets a set of arms and then loses a set of arms.
I know it makes no sense. I mean, it's bad enough that Geodude like floats. That doesn't make any sense either.
Yeah.
But like suddenly grows legs. Why didn't it just have legs to begin with? I have so many questions.
I understand like that in the anime and in the games and stuff we have seen Geodudes float, but to me, I've always thought like they just walk on their hands.
I would be really interested.
Scoot.
Like, oh god, that would be freaking terrifying, man.
Right?
To see like a freaking Geodude
towards you,
walking on it,
or
just
like walking on its hands,
like because it is a muscly little sucker.
Yeah.
So he probably does like the 2-legged walk, and it's like, so you're like, what the heck is this walking rock? And suddenly it like turns and you see its face.
Yeah, all they do is rock climb.
Oh man, see, that would make more sense.
Well, that's what that. I mean, that's in the
Geodudes are just vertical climbers.
That's what's in a lot of the Pokedex entries. Both Golem doesn't, but both Geodude and Graveler like to rock climb.
So they like to climb themselves.
Basically, they like to climb mountains. Although it's weird because they say like it's mixed in the Geodude stuff where they say Geodude has a pretty calm and cool disposition, but if you step on it, it'll wreck you. Right?
Well,
so,
that describes like 50% of the Pokemon. It's like kind of like, oh, Mankey, the reason Mankey lives so long is because, it quickly, it loses its temper constantly. So it's like very not stressed out. Mm-hmm. However, primates die when they get mad because they stay angry and their hearts give out. It's like, how does that make any sense?
Well, great. Now we don't have, now there's a reason for folks not to go back and listen to past episodes. You just give them the full.
Yeah, we've done that. I mean,
that's true. We've done
that. That's two episodes too. We've done that fact twice.
All right. Well, with that, let's wrap this baby up. I'm surprised that Christian and I have been able to go 50+ minutes, just the two of us. But hey,
We spent 20 minutes talking about Golem. That's the reason
Sure.
why.
Whatever.
That's the longest PokeFact section that we've ever had.
Whatever. It's my favorite Pokemon. I think he deserves the time and attention that
does not.
that he needs.
That's the most anyone has ever talked about Golem.
If you are a fan of this show, thank you. We appreciate it. But if you want to, if you're thinking to yourself, hey, how can I help these guys out in a way, that's easy and accessible, things that I can do. There's a number of things you can do. You can tell your friends about it. Go on Facebook, go on Twitter, and be like, hey, if you're a Pokemon fan, check out A Wild Podcast Has Appeared. Send out the link. We love having new folks come to the show, and more and more new folks are coming to the show. And we know that because the folks who do like this show are leaving us reviews on iTunes. And there's nothing more we love than good reviews on iTunes because they make us feel warm and tingly inside.
It does.
If you leave us a 5-star review and we read it on the air, you can get a free comicbook.com t-shirt. Obviously, we're a bit on hold on sending those out because, well, the world. But as soon as we are back in the studio and back in the office, we'll send a whole bunch out. I do realize we've been reading a few the last couple of weeks, and I have not mentioned how to get in touch with me. Some folks have gotten in touch with me on Twitter, which is great, but it's easiest if you email editor@comicbook.com. I will get those. Send me your shirt size and your address, and we will keep that on record and mail those out as soon as we can. We appreciate everyone's patience. Obviously, we are week, I've lost count at this point, in quarantine. And so, we are excited and anxious all at the same time to get back to business. But you can find this show obviously every Thursday, wherever podcasts can be found, Spotify, Stitcher. You can find it on YouTube. We stream it live on Facebook. You can come to the site. We have it at the bottom of every anime and gaming story that we publish at the site. And of course, iTunes and all that. So make sure you hit subscribe if you liked this episode and it was your first time. And again, tell folks about the show. That really does help us out. And we appreciate everyone who has reached out, letting us know that they've told their friends about it and things like that. If you want to talk about some of the stuff we talked about this week, or you want to talk about Pokemon in general, if you have questions about the franchise or anything like that, we are more than happy to answer those questions either on the show or on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Jim Viscardi.
And I am at CHoffer
And let Megan Peters know you missed her. You can tweet at her, Megan Peters CB. Say, hey, Megan, we missed you this week on the show. You missed a great show. They spent 20 minutes on Golem. They didn't really fight.
She's not regretting her decision. But that's how you open it. She's like, I'm glad I kept my staycation.
So, all right. Well, with that, we will see you here at the same time, same place next week. And until then, we'll catch you later.